Keep on loving one another as brothers and sisters. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Continue to remember those in prison, as if you were together with them in prison, and those who are mistreated, as if you yourselves were suffering. That's the opening phrase from our epistle, but I love how it takes what we ought to be doing, connecting it to our faith, how we ought to believe, where our priorities, our perspective, our devotion ought to be, but the way that it expresses it, grammatically using a sort of continuous future tense. Keep on loving one another as brothers and sisters. Don't forget to keep on doing this. Continue to remember these things as though we're already doing them. These are good things that you ought to do, so don't stop and don't quit. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. The love that God has shown you, now you receive and show someone else. Keep it up. So your faith isn't just something you keep secret in your heart or quietly in your mind, but it comes out and flows through your actions, through your behaviors and your words, through the way that you treat people, through the way that you order your life, through the way that you prioritize your day. That your outsides match your insides and your insides match your outsides. We see this, I think, laid out in each of our readings today, but having that sense of concrete action, having that sense of receiving the blessings of God and not just sitting on them, but allowing those blessings to flow to people who are hurting, people who are in need, people who need to see and know the love of God to the same extent that we do, sometimes even more. And so now it's our job, it's our privilege to be able to receive those blessings and pass it along, but to do so in a way that allows for the faith that we have, the commitments, the devotion, to not just be something purely internal, but there is a practical and a concrete element to our behavior connected to that faith, a sense of integrity. That it's not just about our insides, but it's about our outsides as well. And it's not just about our outsides, but our insides match. To lead lives worthy of the gospel through the way that we treat other people, through the way we spend our money, through the way that we order our time, but to do so in a manner that both honors and acknowledges who God is to us and what that means, but then flows through. It can't be stopped from being evident in our actions, in our character, in our lives. There is a practical outcome that we read, that being a disciple of Jesus, it needs to start somewhere within our heart, but it has to flow outward too. I find that the collect is this excellent way of putting together some of these pieces, putting together the advice Jesus gives about going to a dinner party and not sitting in the front row just in case, but sit in the back, because if you sit in the front row and that's not your seat, if you've ever been to a dinner party and sat in the wrong seat, or you've gone to a wedding reception and the places haven't been marked, and you're not exactly sure if there's a plan, and you don't want to mess it all up by sitting in the wrong area, or, oh no, that was for the bride's family, or whatever it might be. Ever been to a different church? That's my view. Jesus gives us practical advice that says, sit in the back. Don't presume. Don't try to exalt yourself by pressing your point. Well, I ought to sit right here up in the front. Sit in the back and let the host, oh, no. I don't want you to sit back there and take you by the hand and lead you up front. Everybody's going to see, oh, please sit in this place of honor. And it is it's sort of practical advice, and in a counterintuitive way, it sort of makes sense. However, expressing a deeper theological point of our humility expressed one to another, as a posture towards God who loves us when we don't deserve it, when we cannot earn it, when we can never pay it back, and then offering that same attitude and perspective of service, humility and love, showing it to other people, not demanding our rights or our place or our honor, but instead being willing to show that to others. And allowing the Lord to kind of let that all work itself out. Where you sit, and what kind of person you are. And well, as I said, I think I see the connection here within our collect. Collecting not just our prayers, but this theme of both humility and the way that our faith, the way that our devotion ought to be expressed as a manner of life, in concrete terms. What we believe make a difference in who we are. So the prayer we said at the beginning of the service, Lord of all power and might, the author and giver of all good things, graft in our hearts the love of your name. Increase in us true religion. Nourish us with all goodness, and bring forth in us the fruit of good works through Jesus Christ our Lord. That starting from that opening prayer of the service and then flowing through the rest of the readings from Scripture, this commitment that our faith in Jesus not just be an inside personal thing, but it needs to come on the outside as well. It needs to be evident within our lives and what our lives look like and how we act. And it ought to be evident to other people in the way that we treat them and relate to them and how we choose to spend our time and our money and our resources and our efforts and our focus and everything else. That what we say we believe on the inside may flow then to our outsides for the honor of God and for the blessing of others. Keep on doing it. Don't stop. Don't quit. Don't give up. Continue to love one another. Don't forget to show hospitality. Continue to remember those in prison. Even suffer in compassion with those who are hurting as though you were the one who is hurting yourself. To be a disciple of Jesus ought to mean something on our outsides as well as our insides. And so as I read that collect and I consider those words, and there's one line in it that always sticks out to me, and it sticks out for kind of a specific reason. Increase in us true religion. And I think that over the last couple of generations, even the word itself, religion, has become kind of a negative word. Outside of the church, religion is, well, that's for dumb people or superstitious people or ignorant people or the people who don't, like other people, or they reject science or whatever it is. Those religious people, you look down on them because they're somehow foolish or less than you. But even in the church, if you've spent the last 20, 30, 40 years in the church, you have probably come across a phrase, and I think it's sort of endemic of how even within Christianity, the concept of religion is sort of diminished in its perspective. You ever heard, it's not about religion, it's about relationship. You ever heard that? Kind of a bumper sticker? It's around. It's around. And even within the church, the word or the concept of religion or religious doesn't seem to have the significance that it might have in the past, and it's sort of something you kind of downplay because, well, I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual, right? And religion, it sort of sounds like the sort of rote mechanical stuff that it's not really meaningful. The meaningful stuff is very deep emotional and spiritual connection. But religion, like that's for old people, or stuff that happened a long time ago, or for people who don't know any better. And that phrase, it's not about religion, it's about relationship. It's within the church, it's within the faith. And here's the thing. I twitch, when I hear that phrase, but not out of the sentiment. The sentiment expressed, I think, is a positive one. I think it's sort of at least it was intended to be kind of a corrective. The pendulum maybe swings too far, and it needs to kind of come back. And if there is an element of faith that is rote and mechanical, like I go to church, but it doesn't really make a difference. You're mouthing the words, but there is no internal connection. There is no relationship. There is no genuine faith or hope or love, but you have the outward trappings of, well, I go to church and, when I wear the clothes and all that kind of stuff, then there's something missing and there's something important, there is something critical. So you say it's not about religion, it's about relationship, to swing a pendulum back to say, the Lord desires your heart. This is akin to, and I think it's Billy Graham, who says, going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than sitting in a garage makes you a car. All right? So, that's a fair point. It's a fair point that the Lord desires you, your heart, your life, and wants to draw closer to you. And I want that for all of us. I want that for you. A heart that longs to be closer and closer to the Lord. That feels that relationship grow and mature and develop and has that internal commitment, has that spiritual longing and fulfillment that can only be found in the face of Christ. And I want that for myself, and I want that for all of us, but when you make the phrase, whether well-intentioned or not, it's not about religion, it's about relationship. Not only are you throwing the baby out with the bathwater, I think we are misdefining terms. Okay? I hear that phrase along the lines, I would hear something like, well, it's not about marriage, it's about love. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't work. Like, are those terms that are related? Yes. And do they overlap? Yes. Do they mean something identical? No. They ought to work together. They ought to be in concert, but they're not exactly saying the same thing. And if you're saying one without the other, neither of them are really right. Well, marriage, after all, is just a piece of paper. Really? Okay, let's not get into that one, but let's just sort of take it for granted that we would want a marriage with its commitment and all the external trappings, as well as the feelings and the affection and the emotion. And if either one of those is missing somehow, you would feel like there's something important that's not there. To say religion is somehow opposed to or against or the opposite of relationship is, I think, to misunderstand the concept of religion. When religion in reality is simply the external working out of that relationship. It is the practices through our bodies, through our words, through our behavioral habits that demonstrate that relationship and that faith. It's a little bit like, you hear from a non-denominational church and like, well, we don't have a liturgy. You're one of those liturgical. Yeah, yes, you do. Every church has a liturgy. Sorry to break it to you. Every church has it might be less formal. Do you meet on a Sunday morning? Or do you meet at a random time every week that's completely different? When you come to church, you ever read from the Bible? You ever pray? Ever sing a song? That's a liturgy. That's a liturgy. It's a habit. It's an external act that is intended to be the outgrowth of this feeling, of this sentiment, of this devotion, and of this faith. Religion and relationship then are not opposed to each other. They ought to fit together. When you have that relationship with the Lord that says, I am grateful, I am thankful, I desire to offer you my best through praise and through my life, you do that on an ongoing basis. the stuff that people can see, that's the religious stuff. That's the religious element. If you are reading your Bible because I want to know more about you, if you are coming to church in prayer because I want to be closer to you, these are where religion and a relationship, they not only overlap, but they are intended to work together as a unitive whole, just as we are intended to work together, body and soul. Our faith and our action, our devotion and our behavior, it ought to be together. Right? You want to be the sort of person whose outside matches their insides and their insides matches their outsides, right? That you don't want to be the sort of person that other people assume, well, I don't really know what they're thinking. They seem nice and all, but I wonder what they say behind my back. You know? Like, whoa, with integrity, I want to, I want my heart to be on display through how I act and how I treat other people, and I want that to work vice versa. So people can kind of count on me. People can depend that I'm going to treat them the right way because, that's how God has treated me. And so I also want them, if I do treat them the right way, to not assume that I'm trying to trick them or that it's fake, I'm acting, that I've got this sneaky plan and somehow I'm gonna pull the rug out from underneath them. But instead, I act in a way that shows the integrity of character inside of them. That who I am when people are watching is the same person when I think that nobody notices. That it shouldn't make a difference. Whether you've got the spotlight shining on you or you think that no one notices at all. But that you're not somehow a different person in your behavior or in your faith. Right? We sort of intuitively understand the hypocrisy of acting one way, believing another, or believing one way and acting another. And I would just say that relationship versus religion is a misunderstanding. That we ought to say, how about both? I want that deep spiritual yearning and fulfillment that only comes in the face of Christ. But I also want us to be able to express that and demonstrate it when you leave here. How you work within your family, how you are with your neighbors, how you are with the people you meet on the street. That it ought to make a difference. That it's not just mouthing words or it's not just a sentiment or feeling, but it actually comes out in what we do on a day-by-day basis. It actually comes out in the way that we order our lives, the habits that we form, the perspectives that we operate with, insides and outsides matching together as a unitive whole, body and soul. And it's not, my heart belongs to Jesus. Well, great! That's super! But you know what? He also asked for our mind and our strength. So we should be looking for ways to give that to him as well. We want to be the sort of folks where there is true religion, that is religion that is honest and real, that is strong and good and holy, that it is true. Not just mouthing words, but also not just having vague feelings and emotions. If the spiritual person never makes a difference in their lives, you kind of wonder, well, what good is it after all? You'd sort of wonder the same thing about somebody who says, well, I've got this very important relationship with this person. I never see them. We never talk. But, it's really serious. Really? Okay. Or somebody describes, this relationship is very important to me, but whenever I see them, I slap them around and I insult them constantly. And you're like, okay, well, I guess there's a relationship there, but it doesn't sound like a very good one, right? So, to have a relationship with the Lord ought to be expressed through what that relationship can look like to others, as well as just a warm feeling within our hearts. Can other people tell? Can other people see? Does it make a difference within your life on a day-to-day basis? And does your life make a difference to others on a day-to-day basis? So these things matter. And they count. This is the true religion that incorporates what we say and what we do. But it starts from a place of faith and hope and love. And these two things are inextricably linked, and they flow one from the other and then back again. This is what it means to be a disciple, where it actually makes a difference in things that last beyond this day and beyond this week. To be able to treat people in the way that Christ has treated us, in a manner that can make a difference in a life that can last forever. In a way that the things of this world will one day pass. But this will not. Do our lives reflect that which is true and lasting, that which is eternal and important? The stuff that counts, the stuff that matters. Do our lives reflect that on the inside? Is it reflected on the outside? Do we have integrity as a disciple of Jesus, that what we believe is also who we are? Well, that is who Jesus has always been for us. Our example of humility and service. Our example of holiness and righteousness. The one whose inside matches his outsides, always and forever. And this love that he has shown to you. If it makes a difference, let it make a difference from top to bottom. Let it make a difference from inside to out. Let it make a difference deep in your heart with that relationship, and let it make a difference in your outsides, your religion, that it is true, it is good, it is righteous, and it is holy. For Christ our Lord is the same yesterday,